When you think about some of the most notable directors in cinema history, Martin Scorsese is definitely one of them. His innovative and detailed filmmaking style has led him to produce some of the most memorable masterpieces, including Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, and Goodfellas. Over time, several elements have become trademarks of Scorsese's films, such as dark themes, deep characterization, violence, the mafia, creative cinematography, and use of music. To begin with, most of Scorsese's films have themes of religion, guilt, and redemption. They are also set in New York, and the characters are typically Italian American. And in reality, this is not a surprise. Not many people know this about Scorsese, but he was born in Flushing, New York, and raised by Italian American parents. Due to his severe asthma, Scorsese spent most of his childhood in church or in cinemas, establishing his love for film. Scorsese was also raised as a dedicated Catholic and even planned on becoming a priest rather than a filmmaker. It was only when he got a scholarship from NYU that he chose to become a filmmaker instead. So what does this have to do with his films? Well, everything. Scorsese once stated, "My whole life has been movies and religion. That's it. Nothing else." Thus, Scorsese's films are a basic representation of his own spiritual film journey and the struggles he experienced in between. When his career first began, his movies had themes of guilt. In Taxi Driver, for example, the main character, Travis Bickle, is a depressed man with chronic insomnia who feels burdened and repulsed by the corrupt and filthy streets of New York. He is constantly unsatisfied with his own life and is motivated by rejection. Here, Travis and Scorsese share a strong connection as Scorsese was battling between film and priesthood and the decisions that he had made. Soon after, Scorsese created Raging Bull, and here, he moved away from themes of guilt and instead looked at the consequences of pride. This film was centered around a middleweight champion named Jake LaMotta who, because of his arrogance, lost his family and his career and ended up being sent to prison. However, at the last hope, LaMotta eventually finds redemption through humility. Knowing Scorsese, it is no surprise that he would choose to explore LaMotta's character further, demonstrating that LaMotta is just another real man and that everyone makes mistakes and learns from them. 10 years later, Scorsese produced Goodfellas, which is about a mobster, Henry Hill, who struggles to fit in with the other members of the mafia as he is not as violent and aggressive as them. As the film progresses, he becomes more and more selfish and continues to struggle with his self-identity until he finally ends up with nothing left. Here, Scorsese includes themes of power, greed, and its consequences. He also provides a message about how for every sin, there's a price that has to be paid. Besides his dark themes, Scorsese is also known for his unique and creative camera techniques, particularly his long tracking shots or one-shots and his dolly zooms or vertical shots. One example is a Copacabana shot in Goodfellas, wherein Henry is taking his girlfriend out on a date. This shot was done to make it seem like there was no separation between Henry and the world that he was trying to get into. Everything flowed very smoothly and all the doors opened for him, as if his life was perfect. When he and his girlfriend entered the restaurant, they were greeted by everybody, as if they were royalty. It also demonstrated that he had a hidden dark side, as he entered underground and paid each person he passed $20. Scorsese was also very particular about timing and mise-en-scène, whether it was deciding what the cooks in the kitchen were doing or when the waiter would bring in the table. Furthermore, Scorsese is notorious for his dolly zooms, as shown here in Raging Bull, seconds before Sugar Ray Robinson punches LaMotta, thus providing a disoriented feel and placing the audience in the mind of the defeated, battered LaMotta. Another example is in Goodfellas, when Jimmy and Henry are having a discussion at a diner. Scorsese uses this shot to intensify the paranoia which Henry feels. Moving on to editing, Scorsese loves using slow motion or fast motion to capture reactions, display shock or a turn of events, or convey the emotions of the main character. An example of this is in Raging Bull, wherein Robinson is once again fighting against LaMotta. The slow motion therefore emphasizes how beaten up LaMotta is. The audience is then able to experience his huge loss and defeat. In this scene, Scorsese also uses another element, flashbulbs. His films, especially Raging Bull and Goodfellas, constantly use flashbulbs to highlight the public scrutiny that the main protagonists felt, as they were constantly getting attention and gaining popularity. Next, Scorsese also uses photo montages to indicate that time is passing and change is taking place, while also to display major events that occurred. For example, in Goodfellas, there's a photo montage of Henry during his high points in life. It depicts him as a family man, spending quality time with his wife and children. In Raging Bull, Scorsese also uses a photo montage to reveal the climax of LaMotta's career and family life, as he is shown repeatedly winning his boxing matches and getting married to his wife. Throughout his films, Scorsese is known for his freeze frames.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
In Goodfellas, this freeze frame is used to introduce the protagonist or main character, while in this scene, it is used to establish a major plot point in the film. Finally, a Scorsese film is never complete without its music and sound. Although Scorsese is most famous for his use of music and narration, one of his most powerful elements is actually his use of silence. For example, in Raging Bull, when LaMotta is fighting against Sugar Ray Robinson, the sound of the cheering crowd slowly fade out, creating the effect of isolation and loss. Also, every fight scene is followed by a scene of silence, allowing Scorsese to build up the intensity of the fight scene and make them seem more harsh. In fact, near the end, when LaMotta attacks his brother, Scorsese actually used the same sounds as the one he previously used during his boxing matches. Thus, this demonstrates that the violence of the boxing matches is just the same as the violence at home. In Taxi Driver, silence is used for when the character makes an important decision, as shown here when Travis contemplates whether or not he should take the money. In Goodfellas, silence is used to heighten the level of drama of a scene. Take this scene, for example.
How the fuck am I funny? What the fuck is so funny about me? Tell me. Tell me what's funny.
Get the fuck out of here, Tommy.
You motherfucker! I almost had him!
The silence serves to make this scene more intense and also provides a sense of unpredictability for the characters, as the audience is able to tell whether the conversation he is having will turn for the better or for the worse. So, if you're a film geek like I am, do yourself a favor and watch any one of Scorsese's films, as it is guaranteed that you'll be able to learn a whole lot from him.